New details on the life and shocking death of Aaliyah. In an Oz Show exclusive, the superstar singer's uncle is here revealing the inside story of her tragic loss. But first, it's been 20 years since she died in a fiery plane crash, and serious questions still linger. Was she drugged before she got on that doomed flight? What really caused this plane to nosedive back to Earth just a minute after takeoff? And how did her illegal marriage and alleged abuse by R. Kelly occur? Oz Show senior investigative correspondent Marcy Avacampo has the latest.
Ever since appearing on Star Search at just 10 years old, single-name sensation Aaliyah seemed destined for greatness. She burst onto the music scene at 14 with her double platinum debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, produced by her supposed mentor, R. Kelly. Soon after, the alleged sex abuser reportedly had his tour manager get a fake ID for Aaliyah by bribing an official, changing her age to 18 so Kelly, then 27, could marry the 15-year-old. But her parents quickly had the marriage annulled, and Aaliyah reportedly broke off all ties with the singer. The Princess of R&B went on to achieve great success during her short life, making 2 more hit albums, earning multiple awards and 5 Grammy nominations. The self-proclaimed perfectionist was even the youngest person ever to perform at the Oscars in 1998. Praised as a role model by many, she's credited with helping redefine hip-hop, pop, and R&B in the 90s. The sky was the limit for the singer, dancer, and actress, who was cast as the star in 2 movies and had just started filming the much-anticipated Matrix sequel. But on August 25, 2001, at the age of just 22, Aaliyah's life was tragically cut short when her plane crashed, leaving the Bahamas after a music video shoot. Suspicions soon arose about the pilot, but her untimely death was overshadowed just weeks later by another tragedy, 9/11. Now, 20 years later, she's cited as Jane Doe #1 in the case against R. Kelly, and more questions have emerged about what really happened that fateful August day.
Marcy Avacampo joins us now. I want to start with the disturbing allegations that have emerged from the R. Kelly trial. What are prosecutors saying that he did to Aaliyah?
Yeah, the reason Aaliyah is part of this case is because prosecutors say she is one of the victims in a decades-long criminal enterprise led by R. Kelly, essentially for the purpose of sexually abusing underage girls. Now, during this trial, one of R. Kelly's former tour managers testified that he is the one who personally bribed a government official to get a fake ID for Aaliyah, saying that she was 18 years old when she was really 15. Why did he do that? Because R. Kelly reportedly wanted to marry her. That's what this man testified. And he said that R. Kelly wanted to marry her because he had gotten Aaliyah pregnant, and he wanted to be able to legally authorize an abortion for her as a minor at just 15 years old, and he also wanted to protect himself from prosecution.
It's reprehensible.
It's awful.
I understood the getting married part. I didn't realize there was a potential baby involved.
And he was seeking protection for himself, according to this testimony, that he didn't want to get in trouble for this pregnancy, and so he was trying to fix it.
On August the 25th, as you heard earlier, 2001, Aaliyah and 8 others died in this fiery plane crash just a minute after taking off from an airport in the Bahamas. Sadly, no one survived. Now, she'd been filming a music video just 200 miles east of Miami. A witness has since come forth claiming Aaliyah was given a pill before she got on the flight. What have you uncovered about that allegation?
Yeah, the new book, Baby Girl, reveals some new details about the final moments before that tragic accident. And according to the author, Aaliyah was sitting in a taxi as her team and the flight crew argued nearby about whether or not to take off, and she complained of having a headache. Now, reportedly, a baggage handler nearby said that someone from her entourage gave her a pill. She took the pill, and that right after, she fell into a very deep sleep. So deep, in fact, that she was carried onto the airplane still asleep and may not have even been aware that she was on the airplane. Now, we should say we don't know what that pill was. It could have been aspirin. Maybe she was just very tired from a long video shoot. And the baggage handler did say that she took it willingly. But it does reveal some new information about those final moments.
It's just the whole process is so bizarre what she was living through. And I guess when you have that kind of fame that early, there are things that happen. Yeah. But this did not work in her favor. After the crash, investigators determined the small plane was carrying about 700 pounds over its limit. And this is important. The center of gravity was too far back in the aircraft. The pilot must have been doing some of these calculations. Why would he risk his own life? And what do we know about him?
Yeah, according to the book, the pilot did not want to make this trip. And he reportedly argued with Aaliyah's team because he thought that it was unsafe. So he did make those calculations and he did decide that it was unsafe. However, after protracted negotiation, they went through with that flight. Now, we did also learn some new things about this pilot. According to autopsy results, he had both alcohol and cocaine in his system.
The pilot did?
The pilot did.
Whoa.
He was not the authorized pilot for that plane, and he had just joined that company a few days prior to that flight, so he was very new with that company.
Maura, thanks as always for the great insights.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. For Aaliyah's fans and family, her tragic loss is still fresh even 2 decades later. Barry Hankerson is Aaliyah's uncle and the founder of Black Ground Records, the label that released her music. He was married to Gladys Knight. He's worked with everybody from Tony Braxton to Missy Elliott, and he joins us exclusively now. You started your label when no one else would support Aaliyah. Mm-hmm. What happened?
Well, it's pretty typical in the music business. She was so young that a lot of people just didn't have the foresight to envision a year or two down the road of working with someone and developing. At that time, things were pretty instant. Oh, you got an artist, let's hit a record. It's a hit, or let's put it on the radio. Where really sometimes you have to develop an artist, give them an opportunity to find what they wanted to do and who they wanted to work with.
Well, what is it that made your niece, Aaliyah, such a superstar, a 1 in a million find?
Oh my God, that is so difficult to answer. She had, from a little girl, she had a way that she just did things slightly different. She would view a movie slightly different. She would dress slightly different. And it was just her peers and her friends and her family were just always in awe of whatever she did. She would just come out and start singing one of her favorite songs, My Funny Valentine. And in fact, she did that on a show called Star Search. Yep. And she just was so special. We knew how special she was until she started talking about singing. I don't think any of us knew where she was headed until she actually started singing all the time and wanting to perform. And because of my profession, it just happened to be, hey, why don't we see what we can do?
About a year and a half ago, you had a stroke.
Yes.
Could have been devastating. It was pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
How did that brush with death impact how you now view the passing of Aaliyah?
Oh. Well, it kind of made me feel closer to her, to be honest with you, because when I had the stroke, it was so out of the blue and so sudden. For about an hour, I didn't know where I was. Mm-hmm. I was in some dark place, but I could feel the presence of other people. Mm-hmm. And I believed the other person was my mom. And she spoke to me and told me to get out of here and go back. And I said, Mom, is that you? I can't see you. And she said, you're not supposed to. You see me when you come back. And then I looked up and I began to gather myself and realize something happened to me, but I didn't know what it was.
So you had a near-death experience. How did that color what you think Aaliyah went through as that plane was crashing a minute after takeoff?
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Believe it or not, I was thinking about her music. I was thinking about because I worked on it every day, very obsessively. So I felt like she was with my mom.
So does it make you more comfortable that Aaliyah might be there with your mom, or did you feel worse that she had to go through this as well 20 years ago?
No, I'm sure Aaliyah and my mom are in the same place. Yeah. After that experience, it's no question in my mind.
Where were you when you found out about the plane crash?
I was on my farm in Georgia, and got a call, and somebody says, you got a long-distance call. It's from the video shoot. Because I knew that they were shooting a video, obviously. And I ran to the phone, and I spoke to the director, Hype Williams, and he said, Aaliyah's gone. And I was devastated. I immediately called Minister Farrakhan, and asked him, could he call God? Could he talk to God? And he said, oh, my brother, there's nothing I can do.
It's a lot to process. They've been 20 years later.
I can never come to grips with she's gone. She's so wonderful.
If you could go back and change anything, what would you do differently? How would you protect Aaliyah?
Oh, God. That's a good, ugly question, because there's so many things and so many nights that I've stayed awake wondering if I had made a plan different, or if I had been there to the video shoot myself, if my sister had been there, if this person had been there or that person had been there, we could have helped to make a better decision on taking that airplane.
So whose idea was it for her to go down to the Caribbean to shoot this?
Hype Williams. Yeah, Hype was the director. Be very honest with you, I did not want to use Hype Williams, but there was a push from management, which is her mom, to do a video with Hype. I did not really want to work with Hype Williams. I regret that. If I could do it over again, I would not have worked with him. And I don't know where the video would have been shot. Would it have been still shot there or someplace else? But it's the first time I've ever said that. But that's what was in my heart when his name came up.
So it was more your sister than R. Kelly pushing for Hype Williams?
I don't know, but that's a very good question. There was some type of rapport my sister had with Robert Kelly that began to creep into our lives. And I really don't know what that is. I really couldn't tell you what that is. That's something my sister would have to talk about. But I did feel, because Hype and R. Kelly had a relationship, because he directed a lot of Robert's videos. So the fact that you just said that is very amazing, because it was a push to use Hype more than there was a push to use anybody else. So at that time, I was after the debacle with R. Kelly. I was for not having any linkage to Robert Kelly at all through directors or whatever. So that did come up that way, and I lost that battle, and Hype became the director.
Let's talk about this a little more. There's with the release of these streaming songs that you're beautifully putting out there, which we're going to talk about, there's been more talk about some of the terrible things that happened to Aaliyah as she was growing up through the business. When you learned, I'll say it differently, what did you do when you learned that R. Kelly had illegally married your niece Aaliyah?
Went crazy. I really went into myself. I met with the minister and really had to debrief me. And because my reaction was not a good reaction, I had no understanding of it. I had no compassion for it. It was just totally out of the realm of what I would think any young girl should ever have to experience. And I made myself known, obviously, to Robert Kelly and in a conversation, and I've never spoken to him again to this day.
What did you say to him?
Things like, who do you think you are? And we trusted you. I've worked very hard to make your career happen.
You were managing him.
Yes.
You must have felt terribly betrayed.
I was betrayed, and my whole family was betrayed. We gave him not just an opportunity to learn how to perform, but we gave him a lot of love and understanding, because he had a tough life. I felt like that kind of betrayal, that you have to do something to somebody. But because of the mentorship of the minister, I totally went another direction and simply just followed along with my sister and just kept it to a very low ebb in our family and to the public, so that Aaliyah would not have to experience as much strife and pressure that could come from her family. You know, she wanted to pursue her career. That was important to her. It was not to let anybody persuade her not to do that. And at times, Robert Kelly was very disruptive in trying to make decisions for us with Aaliyah's music. You know, he always wanted to be the center point of making her music. In fact, after we stopped working with him and decided to go in another direction, and we worked out a release from Jive Records to Blackground, he was still trying to produce the music. And we said, no, you're not ever working with Aaliyah. You will never be with her in the studio again. And people were questioning me, well, how are you going to repeat the success of the first album without him? And there's somebody else that can do this music. You know, I've been in this a long time. There are other writers and producers. And lo and behold, we met Timbaland and Missy. I have to say anything after that.
You've had conflict with your sister, Aaliyah's mom, over this process. Much of this is in rumors. One of the rumors, obviously, that's out there, I just want you to put this to bed for if you can, was that R. Kelly had actually paid Aaliyah's family to be quiet about what happened. Any truth to that?
I don't think so. I think it was mentioned. It was, you know, when a person was as successful as he was, you had a label involved. They had an interest to keep him afloat. They were making a large amount of money on every record we did. So it was natural for me to see executives, you know, hovering around him, making sure he was okay. They didn't know how to relate to Aaliyah, you know, but they were trying to see if the guy was okay, if the man involved was okay. And that's why I went to the owner of Jive Records and said, I can't be here anymore. I have to go. Aaliyah has to go. But you have a contract. I said, I don't care what we have. We didn't have to figure out a way to get out of that. And so what I did do was had an attitude of unrelenting, this is the way it has to be. So we got out of there. We went to Atlantic Records. And even Atlantic Records said to me, well, you know, Barry, we think Diane would be okay with Robert working with her again. How are we going to repeat the success you just had? And it was something inside of me that kept saying, we'll do it again. We'll do it again. I believe in Aaliyah. Y'all believe in R. Kelly. I believe in Aaliyah. And we did it again.
Did.
But Leah was with me. She was with me. She said, okay, Uncle Barry, let's listen to the Timbaland music. And my son, Jomo, went to Detroit, and we started recording in Detroit. The first record we recorded was 1 in a Million. Baby crying, cricket on it. We loved it.
We are back with Aaliyah's uncle and music mogul Barry Hankerson. Barry has said in the past that Aaliyah's death tore his family apart. His sister, Aaliyah's mom, Diane, is the executor of her estate and released a statement objecting to the streaming release of her music. So, Barry, what led to your estrangement? And how do you bridge this divide? Because, listen, families can be tough. If we weren't related, we wouldn't even be friends with our family half the time. But it's still family.
Well, I have not really tried to bridge the gap because I really don't know how wide the gap is. I don't know why it became a gap. I'm a worker. I work every day, all day. I live on a farm. I literally farm every day. I feed cattle, I feed horses, I will bush hog a field. And that's what I know to do. That's what my father taught me. Work every day, son, work every day. At some point you'll get somewhere. So I don't know really what went on in my sister's mind. I don't know why she's done some of the things that she's done that I grossly opposed to. And I don't know this group of people that calls themselves the estate. I don't know if that's made up of my sister and my nephew, if that's a new group of accountants or lawyers.
What has your sister done that you oppose, that bothers you?
I really can't get into that. But it's something one day I hope she comes to grips with, you know. But a lot of things we all have done in life that we wish we hadn't have done, that was just completely out of character and out of context. But at this point, I'm forgiving. Whatever my sister did, or whatever she feels pain toward me for, I forgive you. I have no problem. The loss of a child, you have to reach to that parent with a lot of love. And that's what I thought I was doing by keeping the music not just everywhere, but I gathered the music back up so we could get some control of it. And not everybody, I thought we would create a demand for the music so we could create a good distribution system. And we've done all of that.
Is your estrangement from your sister related to R. Kelly?
I'm certain in some way it really is, yes. Yes.
You see yourself getting past that ever?
No. No.
You're a pretty cut and dry guy.
Well,
You're a farmer.
I've been living with this a long time.
Were you aware of the issues going on with R. Kelly when they were going on?
No. No, didn't have a clue. Completely ignorant to it.
Do you think anyone in the family was?
Yes. Yes, I think my sister knew a lot more than what we thought she knew.
So you're not just bringing Aaliyah's music to streaming. You're actually at this new Music 360 app.
Yes.
It's got all your background artists, right? I believe a part of it, right? So
Yes.
You've got Tony Braxton, we've had on the show. You've got new artists like Autumn Martini. You've got a bunch of superstars on this thing. What new music will Aaliyah be bringing to this platform as well, so fans get to hear all the artists I've spoken to and her new stuff?
Well, we had the opportunity over the last 4 or 5 years to work with artists, current artists, superstar artists that loved Aaliyah, people that I would bump into in different cities or theaters and say, hey, brother, my name is Drake and I love Aaliyah. I just want to let you know I really loved your niece. And I said, well, would you be interested in doing a duet with her on one of the songs that we didn't complete? My son Jomo worked out a situation with Drake, him and his producer 40. So we gave them some tracks that Aaliyah was on, and Drake did an incredible job at recrafting an Aaliyah vocal with him. And that's coming out on the app, and that's part of the Unstoppable album.
How is the app going to change how people listen to music?
Well, it's an interactive social media type app. You can share the music, which is really a very desired request from music users on the app world, is to be able to play an Aaliyah record and then share it with somebody as far away as another country. Yeah. We have programmed this app so that you can actually meet and greet people in other worlds. Music is the one thing that can bring people together, and part of this app is to do that.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Folks, go to music360.app to sign up for Music 360 and head to droz.com for even more information. We reached out to Aaliyah's mom, Diane, for comment. We have not heard back at this time. Now, she's an important part of this story. I want her to know if she ever wants to respond and share her story, she's welcome here.